And we're back. Episode 2 of this Raw series. So, today's been pretty good so far. I woke up feeling good. I went into my reflection. I read a lot. I actually been reading this new book. It's called Outwitting the Devil. So, in this video, I want to talk about my morning routine and why it's so important to me and why I think you guys should construct some morning routine of some sort. So essentially what I do is I have a set wake up time every single day. And this is the main first habit, because if you fuck this up, then you might not be able to get to the second, third, fourth, fifth habits because you might run out of time, right? And not just that, but the moment you fuck up the first decision of the day, which is waking up, then you already are starting off with this wrong foot. You're already starting off on a losing mentality, honestly. And when you wake up and you don't want to wake up, but you do it anyways because you said you were going to do it, the rest of the day, you're kind of just in that zone. You're kind of like, okay, I'm just going to keep doing the things that I need to be doing, even if I don't feel like doing them. So essentially, this is the morning routine you guys should have. The first thing I do is I have a wake up time. Set time every single day. I currently have it at 7:45 a.m. just so I can keep hold to it and I can keep this streak. Because I've tried doing earlier, but then I fucked up and slept too late. After I can keep hold to this for a while, I will lower this eventually to maybe 6:45, maybe even 5:45. I doubt I'll go lower because I think the more in tune I can be with the sun, the better. So I'll wake up at 7:45. And then I have my black coffee and I journal, okay? This is my first step. It's called reflection. And it's very, very, very important. And this is something I used to not do, but I started doing this a few years ago. And I've been kind of on and off with this habit, but recently it's become something I cannot stop doing. Like, I love this part of my day. Essentially what I do is I grab a notebook. I sit down outside on my balcony as I'm drinking my coffee and I begin to write down what I regret and what my wins are for the day. And then based off these two things, I then construct goals for the day coming up. It's really good because essentially what this does is it puts me in alignment and makes me gain a sharp perspective and awareness of what I need to focus on today, right? So for example, today's regret was I actually slept too late. I actually got only 4.5 hours of sleep today. And that was my main regret of the day. So when I'm on the journal, I wrote regret. I should have slept earlier because now I'm at 4.5 hours of sleep. That's the regret, right? And then a win I had was I completed my entire habits of the day. Side note, I also have a habit tracker. We can talk about this on a different video, but I have a habit tracker where I track the habits I have to complete every single day, right? That was my win though. My win was I completed everything perfectly, like super productive day, honestly. That was my win. And then my goal was simply get 8 hours of sleep. That's it. Now that was the main 3 points. I did have more wins, more regrets, and more goals. I limit these 3 categories to about 3 per category, right? So 3 max wins, 3 max regrets, and 3 max goals. And then besides that, I also rate the day prior out of 10. The way I look at a 10 out of 10 day is not like, oh, your work gave you a raise or it was sunny out. Right? It's not these things that happen to you, but it's instead what you expended that day. And that is truly what men and people should really try to focus more on in terms of what makes a good day. It's how much effort you put out, how much of you did you truly put out on that day. That is truly what's going to fulfill you, and that's actually what makes you happy. Honestly. Trust me, you could have whatever result you're thinking that's going to make you happy, but if you don't feel like you earned it, you won't actually be happy. That's really important. So I write down the wins, the regrets, the goals. And then from there, I rate the day, right? And then from there, sometimes I write like a 1 sentence affirmation. That's a recent thing I've been adding onto this, which is cool. Essentially, I just write down some affirmation. It's not like I read an affirmation online and then I wrote it down. It's more like on the spot, I'm making up some affirmation, right? Today, it was something like, I'm grateful that I'm in better health than I was like yesterday because I've been having this cough. And I even though I have 4 hours of sleep, I don't even need that. Like I could perform well off less sleep. I've done it before. I wrote something like this, right? So my affirmation isn't I saw something on Google and I'm writing it down. Instead, it's based on the day. I'm making up an affirmation for myself. I'm reminding myself and I'm writing it down, right? I'm taking my word seriously. Okay. And then from there, I go into reading. Okay. I love this part. This is a really new thing I've been doing. And like I said, I've been reading this book, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Honestly, it's been cool so far. Essentially, what I'm doing is I read, not even a chapter, I read like 1 to 2 pages. It's typically chapters in books, there's like sub-chapters in the book, right? So what I do is I read a sub-chapter, and I read it slow. I really take my time. If I read a paragraph and I don't really comprehend it, I go back and I read it slowly. And I try my best to be present, to take absolute gratitude of the moment, and to look at this as like it's gold, right? When I'm reading a book, I think of it like there's so much in here, more than meets the eye. And I'm trying my absolute best to like really, really gather the message and understand it on a very deep level. So I read one subchapter. And then what I do is if I don't know a word, I write it down in my notebook, okay? And then later on in the day, I figured out what it means. But I write it down in my notebook if I don't know a word. Besides that, I'm trying my best to understand context clues. I'm not looking it up on the spot because I'm trying to exercise my ability to understand anything, even if I don't know the word, right? Plus, I don't want to use my phone at this moment. So, which is important, by the way. That's actually super important. Do not check your phone as of now. Do not do that. And yeah, so I write down the stuff I don't understand, and I make sure I'm rereading everything very deeply. And once I'm done with one subchapter, this is the thing that most people don't do when they read, okay? So I actually summarize what I just read in my own words, as concise as possible. I'm not trying to make an essay. I'm not trying to add all these fancy words. I'm trying to exercise my ability to summarize things in the most concise point as possible. So if I read like 2 pages, but I write in like a tiny little 2-sentence, 3-sentence paragraph. And this does a lot of things, right? It does, I actually enjoy this exercise, this mental exercise of grabbing information and then like, okay, how do I make this as concise as possible? How do I grab the key element of this message? And how do I put this in my own words? Because this becomes like the thing that stays in my brain, if that makes sense, right? And essentially I do that. And then below that, I write a reflection, okay? This is really powerful. This is more powerful than summarizing the concepts. Essentially what I do is I write down a real life experience or real thoughts I have based off my experience, my life, in my life. And I write down a small, just like the summary, it's small, it's concise, paragraph-ish of something that this chapter or this subchapter reminded me of, right? So for example, let's just talk about the one I did this morning, right? For example, there was a subchapter based off Napoleon having many different jobs, and each job gave him more money, more money, more money. But what would happen is the moment he got the money, the moment he got the success, he eventually just ejected and realized he wasn't really after that. And after many times of doing this, he kind of reached a confusing point where he started to realize money wasn't going to make him happy. He had more money than he needed. So he was confused about his purpose in life. That was one subchapter, right? And I wrote down my experience with this, which is pretty similar, honestly. In my life, I've continuously made more money, continuously understood more about finances, continuously gained more financial confidence, right? And each time, as grateful as I am for what's happening to me, and as happy as I am for these moments, none of it is truly what's important during very, very important times of my life. And what I mean by that is when I went through emergencies, when I went to the hospital, when I got lost in the woods, right? I went through a lot of like life-threatening situations. In these moments, you're not thinking about money. You're not. The whole concept of money, riches, and luxurious stuff, it doesn't even come to your head, dude. It doesn't. You know what comes to your head? Your loved ones. That's what comes to your head. Your loved ones and like cherished things you can do, right? It's not so much about money. It really isn't. So I wrote that down. I wrote that down. And for some reason today, it's like hard for me. I'm not speaking as fluid as I was on the previous video. And that's fine. That's totally okay. I'm trying to show you guys it's not normal for someone to be just completely perfect at every given moment, right? Anyways, I wrote down the fact that I also experience this money thing and how I've realized my favorite moments of life aren't centered around money. They aren't. They're like really fun conversations I have with friends, deep moments and conversations with people I admire. And just, time spent with loved ones and doing things I truly love. Like when I'm talking in a video and I'm getting in flow state and I feel like I'm connecting with people. I love that. Or when I'm on a podcast of some sort and I'm really deep into the conversation, I really, really love that, right? Or even when I'm reflecting and I'm reading and I'm just chilling and I'm just there, sitting, accepting the moment. I love that. That's awesome. And these things that I just mentioned, you don't need money. You don't. So that was like the thing I wrote about the subchapter, right? And I know this is a little bit of a tangent, but let me get back to the morning routine. And after I write, the reflection, the summary of the subchapter, and the words I don't understand, from there I'm done with the reading. If I wanted to keep doing more subchapters, I can. I've realized I think one is okay. One is enough. I feel like 2, 3, 4, I'm gonna be reading all day, right? So eventually I'm done with the coffee, I'm done with my reflection, I'm done with my reading, and then I go straight into a workout. I go to the gym and I work out hard. I work out every day, right? Every day it's something else. In a different video I can explain this, but I work out and I push myself physically. Usually it's some form of heavy lifting, right? After that, I do some form of cardio. It doesn't have to be super long. At this moment, I'm not doing anything too crazy. And then I get into the sauna where I stretch and I listen to some sort of motivational content of some sort. So I stretch in the sauna, I'm listening to some motivational content. Usually for like the last few minutes of the sauna, I kind of take my headphones out and I'm just kind of there, breathing, feeling the heat, feeling the pressure, right? Knowing I'm almost done with my routine. And the moment the alarm rings, right now I'm doing 10 minutes, I get up. This is what I do every time. I get up in the sauna and I smile and I'm just like, yeah, let's go. I always tell myself, let's go, right? It's a powerful statement. It's this concept of like, all right, we're moving forward. We're going forward. There's no time to just sit around, no time to just waste time, only time to go forward, no time to think, right? So, which by the way, small note, this is how I view my life. It's like, I don't really want to think too hard about things. I want to just go forward, make the right decision that I believe to be true in that moment. And then I just want to reflect every morning and basically course correct my decision-making skills. That's kind of how I view my life. Besides the morning, I don't want to get so deep into self-reflection. Otherwise, you're just kind of like living in your head at that moment, right? Anyways, I get out the sauna, take a really cold shower, which I love. And I usually play one piece of music at this point. It's kind of like my celebration. So for example, today, the song I played was Sing for the Moment by Eminem. I'm a really big Eminem fan. I love him so much. I love his music. It motivates me. It puts me in the right space, right? Headspace. I listen to that as I take the cold shower. I used to make it warm and then cold. Now I just go straight cold, honestly, every single time. I do that, I get out the shower, dry myself, obviously, and then I make this video. This is the first thing I've been doing after this whole concept, right? And then once I'm done with this video, straight to work. And guess what? I have not checked my phone yet, not at all. I have to complete my morning routine before I can check my phone. You guys could just copy this or make this into your own routine of some sort, right? To summarize the morning routine, essentially what I do is I wake up at the same time every day. That's the first checkbox. Then I reflect and read. I recommend to read something that can inspire you, motivate you, or teach you about life and mentality and mindsets. Anything like this, right? So I reflect on the previous day, set goals, and I read, and I use this reading to reflect on my entire life, basically, right? It's very deep. I do deep thinking. I try my best to kind of think deeply about these topics. I don't want to just read this book and let it go through my head. I want to really understand these topics. That's my reflection and reading. Then I do a hard workout, check that box. And then there's obviously little things in between this, but the main concepts is the hard workout, and then I make this piece of content, right? This piece of content, you guys can replace this with whatever your passion is, whatever your skill is. You want to be a guitarist? You sit down and play guitar for X amount of time. You want to be whatever the thing is, right? But I want you to dedicate some time in the morning to the thing you're actually passionate about. This could be your job, but for a lot of people, it's not your job. So I recommend putting some time into that. I recommend putting an hour, right? That's about how much I put. I put an hour of deep work after these processes, and then I can check my phone, right? So it's that deep work, check that off, and then you can check your phone. That's when you can check your phone, right? And even when I check my phone, I try to be quick with it. Because at this point, I've just been used to fucking crushing life. So I go on my balcony and I set like a 15-minute timer, and I'm just trying to really quickly check my phone. That's it. Look at my notifications, respond to every single thing I can, respond to every single thing I can. Quicker I can do it, the better. No overthinking anything, right? And yeah. And I used to eat breakfast, and essentially with breakfast, I kind of do it after everything I just said, right? I usually do it after my 1 hour of deep work. Actually, I usually do it before I begin my deep work. So after the cold shower, I would eat breakfast and then do deep work for 1 hour. Recently, I've just been so locked in that I'm kind of doing my deep work before the breakfast. It's up to you. And when it comes to breakfast, do not eat something that's gonna fucking lower your state and fucking make you tired and sleepy. Do not eat some sugary nonsense like cereal. My recommendation for a healthy breakfast, which is what I eat, is very simple. I eat 8 eggs and 1 tablespoon of butter. That's it. That's all I have for breakfast every single day. It's an amazing breakfast. Watch how it doesn't crash you. Watch how you feel good after eating this breakfast. Now, for some people that might be 6 eggs, for some people that might be 10, okay? I'm fairly light. I range around 140 pounds at this point. So I'm eating 8 eggs on like a 2,200 calorie diet. You do the math, right? If you eat significantly less than me, eat 6. If you eat significantly more, eat more. And that's pretty much it. That is literally my day, right? I have that breakfast, I enjoy the breakfast, and then I just work. And then the rest of my day is for a different video. This video was made to just talk about my morning routine. This is what I do. This is what keeps me motivated. This is what gives me momentum. This ticks off the important boxes of life. This gives me gratitude, right? And it gives me energy. And I do this every day without fail. All right, guys. Thank you for watching the second video. I can't believe it's been 19 minutes. I guess I want to keep doing that. I want to keep making these 20-ish minute videos because I'm not doing these videos to like be awesome at making a 20-minute piece of content. It's not for that. It's just to get used to me brain dumping for 20 minutes. That's it. It's almost like a selfish thing, but at the end of the day, I know some people will relate. And if you're watching this still up until this moment, you somehow related, you learned something, or whatever. And for you who's listening to me right now, let's get it. We're about to have a great day. I do hope you learned something. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Peace.